And, I mean, I have to say, I've heard people say, well, it's got medical benefits. I mean, I don't think, I think when you're an elected official, I think when, when people work part-time, generally they don't expect their employer to give their families full coverage. And I think that's borne out by the fact that we don't extend that benefit to our regular part-time employees. So this was just, for a first discussion, and whatever other information we need, but I think it's a step in the right direction. Okay.
Just reading this. Okay.
Any comment? Okay. The next item is the Zoning Board of Appeals. I put on the agenda to discuss appointment of a new member. With that comes the fact that we've lost a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals who has resigned. So we would just be filling the unexpired term of that member. And I think that's pretty pro forma. Everybody okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
The operation and maintenance of the Kent Sewer District conveyance system. This was on the workshop last week, and we tabled it at the meeting. We have 3 bids, and tonight we're ready to award those bids in the meeting section. The bids, I don't know if they were on again. I think they were not on the agenda again this week, because they were on for the last meeting. And so those bids were the only 3 we got. The Kent Historical Society tag sale. The Kent Historical Society is having a tag and bake sale from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., October 11th, rain date October 12th, at the Ludington Mill site, the old Carmel camper area, Route 52, Ludingtonville, New York, just past the Hess gas station. If you'd like to help out or donate, please call 845-803-0372 or contact the Kent Historical Society at kenthistoricalsociety@gmail.com. Just a little public service announcement. And the last thing on the workshop date is the town board meetings in November. The town board meetings are slated for the 1st and 3rd Tuesday of November. However, the 1st Tuesday of November is Election Day. And so this room will be utilized by the Board of Elections. And so what we would need to decide is, do we want to have the meeting in a smaller room and hopefully cull some voters, or do we want to just reschedule the meeting for the 2nd week of November?
Yeah, that's, I think that's Veterans
Oh,
Day.
that's
Veterans Day,
Veterans Day,
we're-
that's right,
Veterans
we
Day,
can't do that
Close
either.
to.
So that leaves us the 3rd and 4th week. The 3rd Tuesday is the 18th, so that would make the 4th Tuesday the 25th. Do we want to hold one meeting in November?
We'll have budget meetings,
Yeah, you have
And
to.
we have to have a budget meeting.
public hearings and stuff.
Right.
You want to do one in the budget?
Yeah, I think that
Pass
makes
the
sense.
budget by-
On or before the 6th,
Yeah, you're gonna probably have to have a budget meeting on
the hearing.
the hearing on the 6th. Because
On or before.
On or before the 6th, so you're either gonna have to have it the 5th or the 6th to have your preliminary hearing, and then you're gonna have to have your budget passed 13th?
Hearing may not be adjourned, I think it's
Yeah.
fine.
By the 20th.
Probably, yeah, 15th.
You can keep it, the hearing may not be adjourned beyond this date.
Date, yeah.
So you can keep having them if they don't agree, but
Right.
you can't go beyond the 15th.
Right, so you have to have either, if you're on agreement on the 6th, you can pass on the 6th, or you can continue to adjourn it up through the 14th, which is that Friday, but you have to take action by the 14th
Right.
to pass it.
So what's the 6th? What day is the 6th?
6th is a
Thursday.
Thursday, the 13th is a Thursday, the 14th is a
Have that
Friday.
before, usually a Thursday after elections.
So do the public hearing on the 6th, November 6th?
That's what usually is done, yeah.
You don't have a choice. Yeah,
Right.
strike it out there.
All right, so then we'll do the town board meeting the 18th.
And you can have another meeting if you wanted the 6th after the public hearing.
Yeah, I mean, you can do the public hearing, do a little
And then
meet,
have
and
a
then do a regular
regular
town board, do some stuff on the agenda,
Okay.
you know, for the town board on the
And then-
6th,
And then you have your 2.
And then have the regular meeting on the 18th.
on the 18th, yeah.
Okay.
November 18th?
Yep.
And
Is
the
that
6th.
acceptable to
The 6th and
everybody?
the 18th is what we're looking at right now. Well, hopefully it would be adopted on the 6th, but if you can't come to an agreement and you need more time, you can adjourn it to, the latest you can adjourn it to is the 14th. You have to pass it by the 15th. So, assuming there's agreement on the 6th, it would get passed on the 6th. If not, it would be adjourned either,
Well, then they'll have to decide when they're gonna
yeah,
have
when you want
another
to do,
meeting. if
when to have
we
another
don't,
meeting
right.
to discuss it and move on.
Okay.
Okay.
See that? I like that.
That was
I'm
easy
waiting
enough.
for the green tea to come out.
So we're doing the 6th and the
18th.
18th?
6th and the 18th right now, yes.
Okay, now we've come to the public comment section, if anybody wants to make any comment.
I have some comments. Just briefly, I'm hoping maybe next meeting we can put the sewer district and the hookup and all those type of things on the agenda. I've heard from some of the business owners and residents that there's still some confusion and specific questions that are out there. So I've taken some of the questions in. I'm hoping that since the date when it could be earliest to go on has been pushed back, that we could use that to our advantage, and at the next meeting, whether we need to have the engineer here or whether we need to just ask him some questions during the week and be able to answer some questions about it, specifically the rate per gallon. I know Bill was looking into possible grants in the future to try and offset the cost. I know there's been a question of whether we can have the meter, because right now the meters are on the inflow of the water into a given piece of
Well,
property.
actually, I actually spoke to Jeff Cantelmo of Insight
Okay.
Engineering about that, and he said, because I had been contacted by somebody in the district about that question, and he said that, and I wish I had my exact notes or the email I had sent, but he said that it is standard operating procedure to have it at the inflow, and that he knows of no system that ever does an outflow meter. He also said that that would be extremely, it would be extremely difficult. I don't even know if it's possible. Like I said, he thought it would even be so ridiculously costly if they could do that. But we can have him clarify that, and I can send.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I am more interested in knowing is that, and we'll go through the law and maybe we can have Tim look at it and put our heads together to determine whether if an individual property owner put on a metering system from the outflow, whether that would be acceptable for use under the sewer system. Because I understand it may be industry standards to put it on the inflow. It doesn't seem, I'm not an engineer, but it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense if you're not putting the water back into the system. So,
Well, he also said that because of the composition of the outflow, which I'm not going to really get into a lot of detail,
It's a sewer.
that it is more difficult to measure. But, I mean, absolutely, I think we should have
Okay.
a further explanation.
and also there was, and this was my thought, is that tentatively the law anticipates that we have a tax bill to go out in January,
Right.
and for there to be an estimate on the flow for the entire year, and then in theory the taxpayer or the district taxpayer pays the full amount based on this estimate and is not really sure exactly whether this estimate has been correct or not. I think it may be a good idea to explore the idea of having a quarterly billing cycle. I know other districts do it. I think the town of Southeast, I know for a fact, one of their water districts do it, because at least it breaks up the payment for our residents and businesses, number one, and number two, it gives them an idea of how much flow they're using on more regular basis. They can change their behavior if so needed. And another thing is, if you have it on a yearly basis, let's say the estimate is low, and they say, okay, you're going to pay $10,000 or $5,000 this year, and it turns out the estimate was low, and they actually, used $15,000. They wouldn't know that until next January, so they would be hit with next year's bill, which would be increased, and last year's deficiency that they hadn't paid for, and we could be in a situation where all of a sudden, if the estimates are low, we have our, residents and businesses getting a giant bill next year that they weren't prepared for. So maybe some sort of quarterly billing, which I don't think would take much besides a small amendment to the law itself, or I don't even know if we could do it by, the fact that the town, can bill out their taxes I don't know if it would have to be added, but I think maybe just a discussion on how this is gonna go through, and open the floor to any businesses, invite them to come in and ask any questions, and even if we don't have the answers, next meeting, that we can, make sure that everybody has a chance to understand exactly how it's going to affect their wallets, and we can do our best to alleviate that if we can.
Well, I mean, one of the options might also be to do a yearly billing paid in installments.
Yeah,
So
but but the only thing with that would be is that you don't understand. I mean, you could be overpaying or underpaying. They could be overpaying and not getting any interest on $3,000, or underpaying and going to get whacked at the other end. And these are just ideas. I just the concern is that this is going to be a significant bill, and there are people who are still unsure of exactly how every aspect's going to work. And I think that as we get closer, it wouldn't be a bad idea to at least take questions from business owners if they want to. If we don't have the answers, it's fine. We have to figure them out. But at least we can say, hey, we're open to all your concerns and questions beforehand, before it hits, and we can't really, timely do anything about it.
Have we gotten any returns for the advisory board for the sewer district?
No.
No.
Well, we have to put one of us on there, right?
Right.
Well, I believe, and I don't know if others agree with me, I think it should be either you or Bill, because potentially you guys are gonna be here the longest. So for continuity, right now,
That's
if
fine.
things stay the same, you or Bill right now are gonna be here the longest term.
Sure.
So for continuity,
So choose up.
I think, one of you two guys. Just, and I'm sorry if it puts you guys on the spot.
I'm fine with doing it. I don't mind. I don't mind
But you
doing it.
guys have the potential to be here the longest right now.
Yeah.
I'll add my 2 cents. I think there needs to be some kind of a question-answer period. I'll tell you who I've been approached. Deli Land has approached me. The owner, I think I mentioned this last time, the owner of Lake Carmel Pharmacy is interested in what's going on. Gene Blau, who used to be the pharmacist there, apparently still owns the building. The Smadback Apartments, Adams Court Apartments, and there's a few more. And I don't know if your office has gotten called or your office has gotten called. But there's some questions out there, and people are scared that they won't be able to
Absolutely.
afford this.
Absolutely
And
right.
So we need to at
Get
least
some
have a
information,
meeting
yeah.
and discuss it. Now we have their attention because they're going to get a bill.
Yeah.
Anybody who calls, recommend to them, they could join the advisory.
And get them to
committee
the sewer advisory board.
Find out,
a good
that's
idea.
the best way, get on the board.
Yeah, and that may not be a bad way to recruit people if we do put it on as an agenda item, because I know some people are doing their own research and trying to figure this stuff out, and they're already kind of out of the starting blocks, which would be perfect to join me or Bill on a committee.
And I think the councilman should have a legal background.
Nice way to throw them under the bus.
Throw 'em under the bus.
Okay. If there's no more public comment, I'd like to open the meeting. Oh? No?
Alex?
Sure, come on up.
No, you can
No,
say
no.
whatever you want. You want to talk about the weather? Talk about the weather.
Yeah, I put that on the agenda. Okay. Yeah, I put it as an add-on, the appointment, yeah.
Yeah, that's on,
That's for the meeting.
that's for the meeting.
For me,
In the meeting.
yeah, I put it on.
So you can't leave yet.
Okay.
Alex always stays to the end. It doesn't matter if we're here
Stand for the
until...
pledge.
I
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call?
Supervisor Fleming?